Good afternoon. My name is Jacqueline Monteith, and we are streaming to you live from the Churchill Northern Study Centre this afternoon. The Churchill Northern Study Centre is an independent, not-for-profit research and education facility. We are 23 kilometers east of the town of Churchill, and the CNSC supports researchers each year who work in incredible ecosystems found around Churchill, as well as hosting educational groups, including school and youth groups, university credit courses, and the general public. The Churchill Northern Study Centre is excited to be hosting these amazing live streams. Frontier School Division has been partnering with the Study Centre for several years now. Being with Frontier School Division myself, I can absolutely tell you that we would not be able to bring you these live stream events without the Study Centre on board. In addition, we're partnering with Polar Bears International this week, and we will have streams coming live from their buggy for you tomorrow, which will be very exciting. Make sure you're a part of that. But of course, we couldn't do this without our fabulous tech crew. We have Hayden and Dakota, students from the Duke of Marlborough School, who are now well-versed in live streaming and running the technology equipment for us. We have Right Click, Frontier School Division tech team, including Bradley, Chris, and Jeff, who are making all of this possible. And we also have many educators who have been with us this whole week, and you're going to meet them very shortly. This afternoon, we are talking about creating global collaborations in science across a distance from your school to our schools, and really just coming up with some big ideas. We are taking the topics this afternoon from the streams we did yesterday, as well as from the student conversations held this morning, which were very insightful to us as teachers. Also to me, finding out that because I'm old, I get to be on Facebook still, which is very good because I love Facebook. So without further ado, we're going to introduce the panel that we have here in Churchill, and then we will begin to introduce the panel we have in Winnipeg. We are just working out some tech issues with our group from New York, and hopefully they'll be joining us soon as well. So we will start with you.
Hello, my name is Arif Qasim. I'm the science teacher at Duke of Marlborough School here in Churchill. I've been here a couple of months now, so I just moved here, and it's quaint and it's quite beautiful. There's a lot going on here and a lot of opportunity, so I'm looking very forward to the rest of my stay here and the connections that we create with you and with everyone here in the town as well.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sean Manning, and I'm the principal at the Duke of Marlborough School. I just want to thank everyone who has tuned in, and I want to thank all of our colleagues and the partners in this wonderful event. It's a very exciting time to be part of this community. At this time, there's great partnerships being formed, and I look forward to your questions and any advice, opportunities that you guys have to offer.
Hi, my name is Greg Spicer. I'm a high school teacher at Nelson McIntyre and Louis Riel School Division. Currently, I'm teaching math, physics, and chemistry. I'm not sure what questions and interests people have out there, but some of the things that I'd love to talk about is some citizen science, if there's any conversation around that. We've also developed a flipped classroom that I could talk about, and also using a modeling instruction approach in physics.
Good afternoon. My name is Brent Atkins. I'm from the Louis Riel School Division as well. I'm a grade 7 and 8 teacher at St. George School. At St. George School, we've kind of developed what we would like to call our St. George Freshwater and Ecological Institute. We have our own little field site that we go out to, and we collect water samples, and then we look at the habitat of the river bottom forest, the local river bottom forest.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Stephanie. I am the program coordinator here at the Churchill Northern Studies Center. I've been here for 2 years almost now, and originally from Vancouver, BC, where I worked in informal science education, and I'm very happy to share this place with everybody out there.
Hi, my name is Miriam Barra. I'm a teacher, grade 9 teacher at Sisler High School in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I teach French immersion, French science, and social studies. This is my 4th time up to Churchill. I love it here, and my coworker Matt and I are really excited to talk about our travel studies program that we've started called Sisler North, where we bring kids up to Churchill.
And hi, I'm Matthew Roback. I'm a grade 11 biology, zoology, ecology, math teacher at Sisler High School of Winnipeg School Division. yeah, we'll talk a lot about bringing students up here to Churchill and what we've done to make that possible. And I'm heavily involved with our live streaming program with Frontier School Division, where we host live surgeries with local companies, special guests, and just broadcast it around the world and get as many people involved as possible.
Hello, I'm Matthew Bunka. I'm a teacher here at the Duke of Marlborough School here in Churchill. I'm a long-time resident, been here 18 years, working with the kids and doing different projects around the school, teaching Native studies, history, computers, whatever else happens at the time. And just working with the kids, doing different types of projects with photography out in the community, streaming live events for the sports teams to the communities up north, allowing parents to watch their kids online playing against our kids, having fun. That's happening this weekend again. Just a little plug for that.
Thank you. What a great and diverse group that we have up here speaking in Churchill. I'd like to hand the floor over to our folks in Winnipeg, and if you could each do a brief introduction of who you are and what your goals are in collaboration and scientific studies.
I'm Rockford McKay, one of two Frontier School Division's science program instructional coaches. My background is I guess chemistry, microbiology, but what I do in Frontier School Division, well, help teachers with their science programming, of course. Personal interests, I'm doing a lot of work with UAVS's, robotics. We are doing a lot of work with our portable planetarium. We have a lot of chemical cleanup to do in our school division, so that's going to be the bulk of our work this year.
Hello, my name is Anne McDermott. I'm the Sustainable Development Consultant for Manitoba Education and Training, and I'm really thrilled to be part of this conversation. My background is 32 years of teaching senior year science and biology, so this should be fascinating, and bringing the ESD lens to that as well.
Hi, my name is John Evans. I'm a Learning Technologies Consultant with Manitoba Education and Training. My background is basically professional learning and using technology to enhance that for teachers and students.
Hi, I'm Megan Reed, and I am a pre-service teacher at Red River College and University of Winnipeg in the joint business technology teacher education program. I am majoring in biology, so that's why I'm in the science. I'm really excited to hear about what they're doing in their classrooms, and I think it's quite an amazing experience to hear the diversity between
Hello everyone, I'm Eva Brown. I'm an instructor at Red River College in Winnipeg in the business technology major. Megan is one of my students at the University of Winnipeg in her 2 years ago we were sitting where you're sitting, and I went up to Churchill with 4 of our pre-service teachers, and Megan was one of them. And we delivered a day of professional development to the school, to the Duke of Marlborough School. So that was a very amazing opportunity. My focus is to provide our new teachers with experience in global collaboration, in using technology for teaching, to design learning with technology, and to give them an authentic learning environment. And so I try to take them to as many places where they can teach and practice rather than in the sterile classroom at the college and teach to each other. So that's why we're here. We are opportunity seekers, and so here we are.
I'm Kevin Osachuk. I'm the teacher librarian at Dakota Collegiate here in Winnipeg. It has been my very great privilege to be a colleague to both Brent and to Greg, who are joining us from Churchill today. My priorities and my interests when it comes to education are both leveraging technology to enhance the learning and engagement of our students. And as somebody who's a passionate traveler, I can't wait to hear about some of the differences we're noticing about teachers who teach in the subarctic.
I'm Kyle Jarek, teacher librarian at Dakota.N and
Actions in any way possible with teachers and students. I actually want to say hi to everybody in Churchill because the last place I actually worked was Arviat, so we were very close neighbors because I was the science coordinator for Nunavut. So I hope you are having a wonderful fall. I'm enjoying a little bit of change in weather here in Winnipeg, but appreciate those short trips to work because I don't have them anymore.
My name is Mark Schmidtke. I'm a math and science teacher at Nelson McIntyre Collegiate in L'Oreal. I'm really interested in developing our citizen science program that we've got going. I'm looking at making connections with other schools to see if we can improve our programs.
Hi, my name is Chris Heidebrecht. I teach grade 5-6 at St. George School in Louis Riel School Division with Brent. Hi, Brent. I'm really interested in climate change and ice melt, and I hope to share a little bit about how I use technology in my classroom.
My name is Lauren Richards. I'm a physics teacher and science department head at Sisser High School. My interest here is I've been interested in technology for a number of years now, and I'm just very, very interested to see how people are using technology and using it to reach out to other kids and other places in the world. And we muted you remotely because we're getting a bunch of audio noise from your mics. So unmute the stream when you're in, Churchill.
Okay, ready to move forward? Okay, so just a note to our Winnipeg folks that you touched on, if we're having a great week here. So far we've seen about 8 or 9 bears, including a mom and cub. We actually went to Nunavut and we learned that the water body, Hudson Bay, is actually considered Nunavut territory. So we ran down to the beach and stuck our feet in the cold, cold water. So we all were in Nunavut already yesterday, I believe. It was a short 5-minute trip there. Yeah. But yeah, so far it's been a great week. Yesterday, the streams were fantastic. I'm unsure how many of you were able to catch the content of those streams. In the morning, we talked about past practices of science and technology in the subarctic. In the afternoon, we talked about current practices of science and technology in the subarctic. And this morning, we had a fantastic range of students. We had a group of students here in Churchill, a group in Winnipeg, and a group in New York that had conversations about technology from their point of view, which is invaluable to us as teachers to have that information. The big question for today: what are your current practices in your science classroom that you're most excited about? And it's a 2-part question. Where do you see collaborative opportunities for all of us in what you're currently doing? I'm going to leave that open to anybody who'd like to answer that question. We'll start with Winnipeg.
Sure, I'll go. Right now at Nelson McIntyre, we have started with our grade 10s doing some water sampling. A little bit different than what St. George is doing. We are teaming up with the Freshwater Watch Institute, who are looking at the watershed of the Red River Valley and Assiniboine Rivers. We've started actually taking our kids out on the on site to do water sampling, loading it to their website, and they are doing some data analysis for us from across the entire water basin. We're also looking at using some apps in our classrooms. We're starting to explore the iNaturals app, which allows you to take pictures of wildlife, plants, animals in your area, upload them, and have a community of people start to help you identify them. I think there's a lot of opportunity partnership there. I know for our water sampling, we're just doing one stretch of the Red River. I'd love to partner up with a school that's either south of us or north of us, start comparing data. I also think that using the iNaturals app, that we could start looking at different organisms, plants that are either north or south of us as well, and comparing what we see to other areas of the city.
Anybody else want to share?
Sure. Sisters Hut, we've been doing things for a number of years, but currently,
I'll repeat the question.
I got to work. Oh, sorry. I just gotta get my volume here. Hello, sorry to come in so late.
Go ahead in New York. You can do a quick introduction and something that you're excited about with what you're doing at the moment.
Yes, hello. Sorry to join you so late. I had a little technical difficulty there. I'm Eileen from Miller Place Schools on Long Island, New York. And our kids just loved the session this morning. You ran it so well. Jacqueline, thank you so much. I think the kids were just excited to hear all about Churchill and all the great things that you guys are doing there. So we thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Eileen, what is your role in your school division?
Yes, I'm the technology integration specialist. I work through mostly with teachers, grades K through 12, and I try and help the teachers to integrate any kind of technology into their classrooms. So we kind of look at the curriculum and then build a project based around the curriculum.
Fantastic, thank you. We'll go back to our original big picture question. I'm going to send this off to Winnipeg. One more person can respond in Winnipeg before we let our Churchill crew have a crack at this. The question is, what are your current practices, or what are you most excited about? And do you see any opportunity for collaboration within that?
I see that are most exciting that we're doing now. Because I think lots of people using laptops and iPads and things like that. So we have an app package that we have for our high school group now for science. So there's a chemistry, physics, and biology and a grade 10 science app group. But a couple of the things that we're looking at is Soapbox Ed is a project that we've spearheaded by our ICT people, but it's kind of blossomed out into the science department, and Matt Wilbach up in Churchill is going to be our lead on it. But there's some really interesting stuff being done with Soapbox Ed. So we've done live surgeries that we've broadcast. We've had an astronaut. We've broadcast his stuff. Last year we did a series of lectures on Lake Winnipeg. So the science of Lake Winnipeg. So that's the sort of thing we're looking at. The newest project for us that would involve this is an initiative that we're calling Young Minds. So what we found is we have a huge school. So there's 2,000 kids and all kinds of science classes going on all the time. And what we're finding is that some of our most say dedicated or curious or motivated in science really aren't getting, well, they're getting opportunities, but we want to provide more opportunities for them. So we created this group called Young Minds. We had a meeting the other day. We got almost 130 kids involved with that. And with 130 kids, what we're looking at is doing things like reaching out to other schools and bringing in guest speakers and doing science, high-end science fair projects. So science for us usually ends in grade 10. Anything after grade 10 is kind of a student-initiated thing where we look around for mentors. So we're going to try and channel all of that through our Young Minds group. As far as potentials go, you want me to talk about potentials now, or?
Certainly.
Okay, so the potential with the Young Minds group is really unlimited, because the ideas are not just coming from staff right now, they're coming from students. And they're coming up with ideas of things they could do. To give you an example, last week at the University of Manitoba, the Faculty of Engineering ran an engineering outreach day. And we sent 20 kids to the outreach day, and one of the young girls came back and said to me, "Oh, it's really fantastic. But what would be really neat is if we could do something like that for science." And so I challenged her and kind of threw it back at her, saying, "Well, let's do one for science, and why don't you be the team leader for that and take it to the Young Minds group and see if we get a group of kids to reach out to the University of Winnipeg, University of Manitoba, and have a Young Minds initiative where you bring in 4 or 5 different people from different departments and faculties, University of Manitoba, University, it could be anywhere really, especially for using the media, to present to you and tell you about their different fields and give you some information about the things they do in their careers. So that's the type of thing that we're looking at for Young Minds, or I'm looking at it. And again, that's something that comes from the students, and we could use the media now, which I really think is matured enough to the point where we can actually do this interactive stuff with our students. Another initiative that we're starting up, I guess right away, is something that I've sort of been rolling around in my head for about 15 years now. It's called Science Fair on the Internet. Traditionally, Science Fair on the Internet is kids will go and do a science fair project, then post it up on the Internet for people to see. And we do that ourselves as part of our science fair for our grade 9 kids. Kids have an option of presenting a traditional science fair project with a backboard or doing it on the Internet and having a presentation with using the Internet as their backboard. This is going to push the technology a little bit further. It's kind of the goal here is to use the attributes of the Internet. And the question is, do we use all the attributes that are available to us through this medium? And the answer to that right now is no, we don't. We do here in this setting where we're talking with ourselves or with other teachers. But for our kids, it's rare where we actually do. So the Science Fair on the Internet was to kind of grasp that. And the vision is to have students at Sister High School working with kids anywhere else in the world, developing a science fair project together, and then presenting that on the Internet. So the types of projects, and what we're going to do is provide some seed topics for the Internet. For instance, this morning we were talking about the Seine River and testing, environmental testing in the Seine River. Well, we could do, in the Science Fair on the Internet, we could do that type of thing, doing water quality all across the world. So wherever a class wanted to buy into this, we could produce a project that would talk about water quality in New York or in Churchill, and looking at fresh water. Another seed topic would be phosphates in Lake Winnipeg. It's a huge topic, but the focus primarily is the phosphates rolling in from the Red River. Using this technology and this idea, we could have communities all along Lake Winnipeg testing any water that's coming from that waterplain, that floodplain into Lake Winnipeg. So those are a couple of things. There are and a number of them. Now I'm going to put those those will be up on our website, and then we'll take it from there and see what kind of interest there is. But again, it's kids in the Young Minds group, so it'd be kids, anywhere between grades 9 and 12 that would be taking this initiative to start off with. But that's what I see the potential is. The potential of this medium. We have to look at the attributes and what can we do with this. And the biggest strength of the strength of this medium now is that we can have kids anywhere collaborate on anything. How can we use that in our class? That's the big question now.
Thank you, Lauren. You raised some very valid points and some great ideas. I'm glad you're able to share with us today. I'm going to bring this over to our Churchill group. So Sean, go ahead.
Thank you. Those are some extremely interesting ideas, and I really, really like that science on the internet idea. So when I look to my left at my science teacher, I'm sure we'll come up with something. Maybe there's something there. It's a great idea. I was excited to begin with the idea of partnerships because we are looking, of course, being in the north, there's only so many resources. We have great resources, but there's only so many opportunities that we can provide, and there's so much out there that we can't access. And these are the types of things that will help us to engage our students. We want to give them the best opportunities in school, and these are some things that we can do together that will enhance that. And I guess just to talk about a few things that we're doing here, I'll try to be brief. we're kind of in our year one. There's other schools in our division who have started this, but it's our 4+1. And what that means essentially is that the students are doing their core courses in 4 months from September to the end of December or till Christmas. And then they do 1 month of one course all day, every day, where they will get an elective. And so we're offering, of course, our school size and our staff size impacts this initiative. But what we've been able to do now is, this is our first year, but in June we are partnering up with the Study Center here, who are going to help with the help of their staff and researchers. They're going to link up with us and provide an elective, science-based elective, field study, project-based learning. That'll be a great opportunity for our students. And so that's just one idea that I know our community and our staff are really excited about. And I'd be happy to know if there's any other options out there that will benefit our students. The other part of that 4+1 is any other school that's participating in that. Two to note would be Gillum and FCI, Frontier Collegiate. They are running this program as well, so we can have students go to those communities for those 3 weeks to take a different vocation that perhaps we can't offer. And again, that just helps the students have more choice, and it had nothing to do with attendance or anything of that matter. It's simply just offerings, and we want to be able to have the same opportunity for our children here that other schools have south of us and potentially north, if they have these opportunities as well. So those are just a couple of things that are on the slate right now, and I'd love to hear any other partnership ideas that we could indulge in that would benefit our community, our students, and yours.
Great, thank you, Sean. Anyone else care to speak on this topic?
I'd certainly like to add to that. It is my first time up here, about 2 months now, but since then we've been very vocal in this new program that they've developed for us. The 4+1 elective, with the elective in June, which supplies students with this outdoor experience program affiliated with the Northern Studies Center. So that's a huge project that we're taking on for students to provide students with a full elective as a hands-on kind of research, investigative, inquiry-based approach to see really what they're doing, the scientists are doing up here. So that would be of distinct interest for anyone in the South or beyond to see what kind of data that they measure up out here compared to the data that you may get down there. In science, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but just to give you a timeline on what we're working on right now in chemistry. This is the chemistry year, so it's Chem 30S and 40S, which is offered in the high school. And then next year it's bio and physics, I believe. But we're moving into gases and the properties of ideal gases. We've been testing boiling points of tap water and salt water. We've been looking into more water quality testing, and I know there are others on this panel that have serious interest in water testing in different lakes, rivers, and estuaries. So that would definitely be a project in the future. We are also developing hot air balloons to investigate volume and temperature. But again, this can also move into methane gas, which is, I believe, is one of the vital greenhouse gases being released in the Arctic shelves today. So that might be something to consider as well as a future endeavor between us and in affiliation with the study center up north here. In grade 10, we're moving into chemistry, so it's a bit, as you know, it's kind of basic reaction types and such, and we use rotational labs. But again, we could develop some connections between the early chemistry, the basic chemistry, and what we're trying to achieve up here and with other schools, of course. And then in grade 9, of course, we're in chemistry now with flame tests. But again, this can move into mineral testing in soil and water, again, affiliated with your curricula down south and beyond. So I don't want to take up any more of your time, but that's essentially our timeline for this year. And I'd love to hear what you guys have to offer in conjunction with us and the research that we're doing up here.
Fantastic, thank you. I'm going to hand the floor over to you, Eileen, in New York, and what your thoughts are so far, or ideas that you have for collaborative teaching and project-based learning.
Yes, we actually got a chance to speak to the science teachers after this morning. I am not a science person, so you guys are way up here and I'm way down here. But we did speak about the salt marsh that we have here on Long Island that's right around the corner from the school. And they have been doing testing for several years with the quality of the water, the dissolving ox something. You probably know what I'm talking about. I tried to take some quick notes. But anyway, and the organisms in those salt marshes. And actually, this is the first time that I really even heard them talking about this. So this whole experience for our school has already drew some excitement. We had some administrators here earlier this morning, and they were very impressed at what they were seeing the kids talking about and the level of questions that they were at. And we only had 6th, 7th, and 8th grade kids here. But anyway, going back to what I was talking to about with the science teachers is they have all of this data, and basically what they do is the kids go out to the salt marsh and they gather all of this information, and then they basically put it onto a chart, and they look at that data. And they've had this data for over the last 8 years. So what I was talking to the science teachers about is collaborating with you folks and your kids, and to see, you know, what our data looks like versus the data that you have, and what those differences can be, and how I think that the kids will be just so excited about seeing that.
Thank you. Our group as well was very excited about the level that the students were having that conversation at this morning, the great points that were brought up from all 3 locations and our online audience as well. I'm just going to take a moment. We have a shout out going to Mr. Roback, Madame Barra, and Mr. Richards. Kara, Cheska, and Mr. Richards' entire grade 12 physics class are watching eagerly. We have Caitlin Nurse, University of Manitoba, Faculty of Education student. And we have Lucette Barber. Lucette is joining us from the University of Manitoba. She's involved with the Center for Earth Observation Sciences. I know she does great work out in the Arctic Sea on the Amundsen, so the Arctic Ocean. You will not forgive me for that, Lucette, sorry. And watching with great interest as well. So a hello to our virtual audience as well. I do think this is a valid question that we will continue with, but I'm going to switch it up a little bit. For our Winnipeg audience, I'd like to start with you, Megan, just because you're a pre-service teacher. So you're kind of representing the bridge between us as educators and the students we had earlier. What type of science and technology and collaborative ideas do you have, or have you seen that have worked, or anything that you've seen that has failed miserably as well? It's important to acknowledge that as well. So Megan, the floor is yours.
Wow, a little shout out. Okay, so as a pre-service teacher, it's really interesting because I've been in a lot of different classrooms in a lot of different schools. Actually, one of my practicums was at Sisler High School, so I can speak to all the amazing things that they're doing there, and it's wow, like check it out. It's unreal. But in terms of technology that I've used and I've seen and I've kind of dabbled in, it depends. For me, I always say pick one thing. And I always pick one thing to focus on technology-wise when I am trying to incorporate something new. I think sometimes we see all these wonderful ideas and all these educators are doing collaborating, and you know, they're taking samples, and this person over here is doing this, and we want to participate in everything. But then you sort of get lost and you don't really take something and expand it. And so I have been a library, working in a library at St. Paul's High School, and I've been developing a makerspace there. And I've been seeing the science teachers kind of peek their heads in at the technology and take a look at it. And so we are going to be working okay. So we have all these tech tools, and you want to be able to share it with all the science teachers. So one thing that I'm really excited about is the Google Expeditions. So I love it because it's super easy, and you can take it from something simple to something really large. So basically what Google Expeditions, what what Google Expedition is. Okay. What Google Expeditions is when you as a teacher have an iPad or another device. Actually, it's Android and iPad friendly. And then all the other students have a device in the same network. And basically, you take a field trip somewhere. So you can basically be the leader, the tour guide, and you point the students where they're going to go. And what I love about this is that the teachers who are like hesitant about technology have taken the iPad card out, they've done it, and it's really easy. And the next step is that the kids can use their own devices and they can actually use Google Cardboard, a virtual reality, to experience it in a whole new different way. And so this is an example of a technology that I've taken from very simple to very large. And I think it's really cool because what they can do now and what we're working on is connecting with schools that live in the areas that they've explored through these virtual school trips. So I think that's something that's really, that I've been really interested in is virtual reality and connecting and collaborating through virtual reality and seeing different places and experiencing different places and connecting globally that way. So that's what I've been kind of going with and working on. I don't know.
Immediately comes to my mind is that all of our locations here in Churchill, there's several different locations in Winnipeg and in New York, that we could certainly take our students on virtual field trips of all of our locations. So Megan, thank you for that. That's a great idea that we can explore further. Another question for anybody who would like to pick this up, someone we haven't heard from yet. We'll start in Churchill and then we'll go back to Winnipeg. Have you ever attempted to use social media as a tool, and how did that go for you and your subject matter? Okay, so we'll get the mic down to Matthew.
Hey, so I have dabbled a bit with social media. This year in particular, I've used Edmodo. Lauren introduced it to us at a staff meeting. And essentially what Edmodo is, it's sort of, well, it's Facebook for teachers and kids. And there's no way you can, the students can't message each other. They can send you a private message, but the idea is that there's a wall. They can post whatever they want. If they have questions as opposed to emailing you. And I can post any notes. I can post any quizzes I want them to study from because this is my third year at Cicero High School, and I've noticed that once a test or a quiz goes out, there's someone has a picture of it somewhere. So you always have to be changing everything. And so I figured, if I'm going to make a test, I might as well just put it online after if I'm going to let them keep it. And so I experienced with Edmodo and asked the kids who'd be interested, sign up for the site if you want to. And within that day, I had 90% of all 3 of my classes registered for this website. And I'm thinking, well, now I have to use it. So when kids email me, my response is posted on Edmodo. They post on Edmodo because if one student has a question, there are 10 other students with the same question. And then my goal is, and eventually what happens, is if I wait long enough, they answer each other's question. Or how do I answer question 6 on this quiz that Roback put up? The goal is to get them talking with each other. You don't have to worry about someone knowing someone's email address or someone's phone number. They don't need any of that. You just provide them a code. It's Facebook without any of the concerns of, well, privacy concerns that every school division is worried with. So that's the social media I used. We've used social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram for our Churchill trips because parents, well, what we've just found out today, Facebook is an old person thing. And kids aren't on it, but their parents are. So we've used social media in that sense to make sure parents know when kids are safe type thing. So it has only been successful for us, but I can totally see how someone can, I can totally see it being used and it crashing and failing. But I've used it, I don't know, been successful with it. The kids really feed off of it. And the students were talking about this morning, they're saying, yeah, their teachers are posting quizzes online, teachers are posting assignments online, and that's helpful. And I like that. And that's what they're going to see when they move into university. So it's a trend that I hope to see, all teachers using just the right tools, the right social media tools.
Thank you. Matthew, do you have anything to add on to that? You okay? Anybody else on our side?
Hi. Well, I have a social media flop. In my first or second year of teaching, I tried to start a Twitter handle to pass information on to kids, but I think my mistake was that I made it a private account, and I don't think the kids really wanted to admit that they were following me, so I only had like 3 followers. It was really sad. So I canceled it. I stopped it. But what I used this year and last year is an app called Remind, and I teach grade 9, and we're a 9 to 12 school, so I find grade 9s are kind of, they can be disorganized, or they need extra supports or whatever you want to call it. So I set them up on Remind. Basically what it is, it's an app where students and parents can choose to receive notifications either via email or via text message. Like Matt was saying, there's no privacy concerns because it comes from they set up a code phone number for you so kids can save it into their phone or parents can save it into their phone, but they don't actually have my personal phone number and I don't have theirs. And it's just like a quick 140 character. I usually just send things like, report cards are coming out tomorrow. Don't forget this permission slip, et cetera, et cetera. And I found in speaking with parents that they've been really happy with it because sometimes those messages get lost in translation or kids forget or whatever it is. So it's been a really helpful tool that I've been using in my classroom. Started it last year, and I have probably 85 or 90% of my students and parents following me on that. So that's been really helpful.
Fantastic, thank you. Same question, anybody who would like to pick up that in Winnipeg, what you have had success with using social media in your classrooms?
I'll jump in here if I may. So social media and the use of it has to be experienced. I also teach the certificate in adult ed at the college, so the instructors of the college who are experts in their field but are not teachers, so they have to take 10 education courses, and I teach some of those. And my courses are paperless, and when I teach the technology course specifically to them, and I say, we're going to make a Twitter account, and you can delete it after the course if you really don't believe in it. And one instructor actually created an account that his hashtag was soon to be deleted. And I checked that account several years after and it was still there. So I thought, well, that wasn't very soon to be deleted. But I say you have to experience it. You can't tell someone, oh, Twitter is great. That is just what you should be using, or Instagram, or whatever it is. You need to experience it. And as Megan said, pick one. Pick one thing to do. Because if you say, well, okay, I'm going to go to Instagram and Twitter and Facebook if you want, or whatever, you're not going to do any of them and you won't do them well. So pick one and get connected. Now, all of everything that we're talking about and connecting with schools in wherever around the world and collaborating with them, the best way to do this is for you, the educators, to be connected. If we are connected and we have a mindset, okay, those people out wherever on Twitter, on Instagram, so on, I can put out a hashtag any day of the week and I can say, I want to do a mystery Skype with someone. I'll put that out and it won't take long and I'll have someone. In fact, when we were in Churchill, we did a mystery Skype with the teachers, and the person we had lined up emailed me. I emailed her the night before and I said, all set to go for tomorrow morning. And she was from Texas, and she said, oh, I totally forgot. We have a PD day tomorrow and we have no students. I said, okay, thanks for that. And so I immediately got onto my network, found someone else, and my student who was doing Kaylee, who was doing the lesson on that, she was at my door in 2 seconds. She said, Eva, what are we going to do? I said, oh, don't worry, we've got someone already. Your network needs to be strong. You need to follow people who are invested, who have a mindset to connect. Social media can be used at all different levels. Take Erin Bree, for example, who is a grade 1 teacher. Her class has a Twitter account. She sets up a Twitter account for her students. No, those little 5 and 6-year-olds don't do their own thing on there, but they tell her what to post. She posts for them and so on. There are many opportunities, but it starts with the educator having a mindset, willingness to connect, and pick one. And it's an amazing tool. But I could say that all day long. You have to go and experience it. That's where it's at. Thank you.
Thank you, Eva. That's a great point. I'm going to turn this over to Stephanie here at the Study Center. How do you collaborate with other educators the K to 12 audience. I know you do a lot of post-secondary as well. We're focusing on the K to 12. And does social media ever come into those collaborations?
Yeah, great. Thank you. So yeah, I think first Sean spoke about the 4-in-1 program that's coming up this year. So very excited about that. It is the first year for us to do that. Here at the Study Center, we're actually celebrating our 40th year up here in Churchill, and pretty close to the beginning, we have been working with school and youth groups in that sort of from K to 12 range, either with the local groups, hosting them through Boy Scouts or guides, that kind of thing. But then also in the last couple of years with myself coming on board and previous to me as well, but getting into the schools, into the classrooms and working with teachers and students there. And then of course, with everybody else from all over, hosting school and youth groups here at the Study Center. We can provide accommodations, meals, transportation, as well as educational programming opportunities. So many of our groups that come to visit us from Manitoba, from across Canada, into the United States and elsewhere, they come up for a short amount of time and they might do some programming with us. We can coordinate local tours with other service providers so they can experience the different aspects of Churchill, whether that's during polar bear season, doing a tour out on the tundra, or coming in the summer and doing beluga whale watching tours, that kind of thing. But also, we're just sort of with the 4-in-1 program sort of going to be working on that citizen science partnership project. So actually getting students involved in the field work. Now that does mean that usually we require a longer stay to get students up to speed, to do a briefing, get them involved, have the time to get out and collect the data, then come back and spend, maybe a whole day entering the data, and then time for the lectures to review that data. So we actually did have this very recent program from Atlanta, Georgia. There's a school called PACE Academy, and I believe you can find it online. And the program that they're doing is that, and I think it's just in their 3rd or 4th year, is that each year the school chooses an overall theme for the school to focus on. And so I think a previous year had been housing, one year was water, and then this year was climate change. And what they do is they have just a few students, I think 1 or 2 students from each grade level. So I think grade 10, 11, and 12, grade 9, 10, 11, 12 maybe. They go through a rigorous process to be a part of this 1-year-long independent study. And so there is one sort of teacher who's assigned to them, I think maybe some other support staff that help out, but they spend time, in their classroom or back in Georgia, but then also they do these multiple sort of learning field trips that are sort of long, immersive programs. And so they came up to Churchill near the beginning of October this year, and they were here for about 10 days. But then again, from Atlanta, Georgia, it took them a little while to get up here. They, I think, flew to Winnipeg, then they drove to Thompson, and then they took the train to Churchill. So they got a little bit of everything. But it was really remarkable for us to be able to work with them and see the changes that sort of from day 1 to day 8, how much they were learning. And then the part of their program is that they go back and they continue to share those experiences with their fellow students, with the school board, as well as the other teachers and things. And they do daily posts, daily blog posts while they were here. So that was a really neat thing to be able to participate as a facilitator, sort of supporting that program. Through our own social media feeds, we do have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of those. And, we try to share experiences that we have with groups coming up, and just really trying to get our the awareness out there that we are here, and we're very happy to work with schools.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm going to have to leave. There's a club coming in, and I'm sorry that I enjoyed being with you. I hope that we can pick this up again another time. I apologize for having to leave and coming in late. It's not usually my style, so I apologize for that. But it's been most interesting, and I would love to do this again and get some of my science teachers here to really get to speak with you folks, because you're just so so knowledgeable. So thank you again, and have a great day.
Absolutely, Eileen, you are more than forgiven. That is not a problem at all. And just remembering that this is the beginning of something big. So you'll be involved at every step of the way, and we'll be in touch again soon. Thank you,
Awesome.
Eileen.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, Sean?
So just to add what Stephanie has said, the idea again with this +1 opportunity is not just for our students. This year, of course, we're kind of in the pilot year and we want to work out the kinks, but looking ahead, which is hopefully something that you're all interested in, is we're hoping that we don't want our students always to be the ones going out. The idea is that we have great resources here, and talking to with the entire Frontier School Division, they would agree that we're trying to make this the hub of the north of the country. We have an amazing resources here, and we're hoping that what we can get to is end up having students from other places coming here and saying, you know what, we want to go to Churchill because they have the science research and opportunities that we want our children to have. So, and in relation, we have another wonderful resource, I guess, coming in the future with the Marine Observatory, which is looking at oil and ice and things like that. So that would, in my sights, it would be a January elective, then partnering with the study center here for the June elective. So there's things that are going to happen. I'm hopeful. And again, I would love to find an opportunity to get students from other places excited to come to Churchill, not just the other way around.
Thank you. I'm going to give the floor. Believe it or not, we are 2/3 of the way done. We're already an hour into our 90-minute session, and we have lots of people to hear from, both here in Churchill and in Winnipeg. I'm going to give the floor and try to aim for a more short answer, direct, just because of our time limits. But what are you most excited about, and what project do you really want to focus on, or do you really want to share? And actually in Winnipeg, I'm going to start with you, Anne, because you have a unique perspective with sustainability and the sciences. So we'll start with you and anything that you're excited about and would like to share.
Anne's just left the room for a few moments. So.
Well, thank you, Anne. That was short and sweet, so I appreciate it. Rockford, we'll start with you then. You're right there.
Sorry, what was the question again?
Any collaborations or big ideas that you would like to work with different students across a distance?
I think one of the kind of pet projects I have that I keep visiting is the drone crossing over Lake Winnipeg, and I've done a lot of research on it, and basically would be I guess for Frontier School Division, having one launch location and a recovery location for this drone. So that can extend further to other areas, even technological partnerships with other areas to build different models and do this. But that's one area that I dream about doing, and one day it might happen.
Thanks, Rockford. You would not believe how many times I've talked about you and your drones while I've been here in Churchill already. So I've been doing some bragging on your behalf already with that as well. And we'll leave it with Winnipeg. Anybody who hasn't had a chance to speak yet, what are your ideas for collaborating?
I have a question or a comment. In terms of collaboration, I'm working with a group of teachers at Dakota Collegiate who want to adopt a blended science model. So they're looking at leveraging technology to kind of engage students to really bump up what they're doing in grade 9 science. But at the same time, as a teacher librarian, when I work with them, what they've asked me to help them to do is to reach out to members of the community. So here's that collaboration piece, to make sure that they're including, because they really want to be respectful of including an Indigenous perspective. So what I'm wondering for the Churchill folks, or for any of the teachers who are visiting Churchill, have they seen opportunities that they would love to jump on that bring in Indigenous perspectives to science? That I'm sure Churchill, just given where it's situated in Manitoba, there have to be opportunities for really, really rich conversations you can have. And I'm just wondering, has anybody had any success identifying places within the sciences to make sure that an Indigenous perspective is included?
That's a great question. I'm going to first get a first-timers to Churchill perspective. Brent or Greg, you can either one take that answer, and then we'll give it to Sean for a follow-up.
Thanks, Kevin. That's a great question. Actually, it's on my wish list while I'm here. I have a book in the shop over there that has medicinal plants and their uses and how we can look into that. So I guess at this point right now, the most striking thing when I walked into the school, one of the very first things that I noticed is that there's a complete wall of elders of the community and paying respect to them. And that, which to me was one of the most striking things about it. And it's more into the being and the soul of I would say of the place that I've seen so far, which is something that, again, and I know we struggle with in Winnipeg often, is trying to immerse that ultimate feeling in the place without trying to project that onto the place. So I'm still trying to work on that one myself personally. So those are, I'll look into that for you, Kevin.
I will let Sean do a follow-up to that.
I had to jot down some notes real quick. This is my first year as administrator in the school, and I've been in the phys ed and vice principal, I guess, seat for the last 3-4 years. So some of the, I guess, robust answers you're looking for, I may not have at the moment, but some of the things I can talk about, of course, the literature that's available that we encourage our staff to access. Always invite, our doors are wide open to community. We want to invite them all in to talk about their history, their stories, and how they can contribute to the curriculum and generate some stories with the students. That's one thing I know, that every time we have someone visit, the students absolutely love having other people besides their everyday teachers talking about different things. So that's encouraged. And like already mentioned, there are definitely displays of culture in our school. And I'm also in the process, early talks with our language and cultural experts at the school division to generate some ideas of how we can, I guess, more of an embedded approach of Indigenous perspectives and culture, because I guess what we've talked about is how it shouldn't just be, Aboriginal Day, or shouldn't just be a snapshot of culture. It should be an embedded approach into the curriculum to ensure that the students are getting a more rich and perspective of the culture with their education. And so that's kind of where I'm going with it now. And I guess that's the best I can do right now for you. And just a little more to that, locally, we have so many experts in different fields who have that history. And I'm, of course, inviting them to, if there's a way, again, I keep going back to this 4+1 just because I'm excited and it's new, that if there's any way of integrating our local experts to come in and team up with our staff, that may find a way to offer electives in our school. That's where we're going. That's what I'm hopeful for.
Thank you. I'd like to mention, the microphone's going to come this way first. I'd like to also mention that in Frontier School Division, that's definitely a priority in all of our schools, and a common thread that you'll find if you travel throughout the division. We have Arif and Stephanie that would like to comment, and after that I'd like to bring it back to you, Rockford, and you can talk a little bit about how we run the planetarium and how that's ingrained in our STAR sessions. So go ahead.
I heard that you were focusing right now on grade 9 science, and I had a couple of things that may be able to help you when it comes to the Indigenous perspective. Starting with in biology, the I have yet to entertain some of these avenues myself, but they just came to mind as you had mentioned it. Definitely elder stories on just about every facet of science is important, especially in biology, for instance, and reproduction, right? Child development would be a very continuous approach, coming from how they were growing up to how we grow up, and areas of child development from the elder's perspective. Also, when you want to get a little more in depth, you could consider evolutionary adaptations of the Inuit in terms of surviving the lands of the North in the history of time. So that would also be very comparable to perhaps the adaptations of Southern folk. In chemistry, I would definitely recommend a book called Braiding Sweetgrass, which actually immediately tends to those connections between science and the teachings of the elders and their indigenous perspective. I'm working on it right now. I'm still reading it, but that's something that would certainly pertain to chemistry and other areas like perhaps space science and those perspectives as well.
Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to also mention that as I had said, when school groups come and stay with us and we can help coordinate extra excursions, one of the other things that we offer for groups is connecting them with local elders to come out and share their stories. So having a cultural speaker is something that we can build into a schedule. And I know that Sisler has taken advantage of that. And, you know, when they've come and stayed, they've had different cultural speakers each night. And, you know, I think when groups come and they're, you know, ready to hear those stories and have those people share, you know, it can be really, I think, rewarding and remarkable to see. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll hand it over to you, Rockford, in Winnipeg.
Camera's just swinging around here. I guess when we're talking about Aboriginal perspectives, you really have to, when I explain this, and of course it's a different worldview, and people will ask, well, what do you mean? And I'll first give the example of how we see ourselves differently than say a European kind of view of the world. In terms of course, I'm born and raised in Winnipeg, but as a young person, I've went to Sunday school, learned, you know, those religious views, and it's quite different. And I have to give the examples. So in terms of worldview between, let's say, the Christian view or the European view, is you have the creator, right, at the very top. And I'm talking just this general overview because you'll see the difference. You have the God at the very top. Below God and whoever is closest to God is man. Okay. Now below man is the animals, the plants, and the earth or rocks. Okay. That's what I learned in Sunday school, and that was ingrained to me as a young person. But when I've talked to my elders and stuff, it's quite different. You have the creator as the supreme being. Now below the creator are the rocks, the grandfathers, because they are the source of communication to the creator. From the rocks you have, because rocks have spirit in it, you have the plants. From the plants you have the animals. And below the very last person is man, because man cannot survive with those other elements and beings. We are humble and totally dependent on it. So how arrogant is the view to have that other hierarchy? So if you haven't lived that, your mindset of the worldview is going to be different. And I specifically say this when it comes to sustainability. Okay, how different a view is that? Think about that. It's totally different. and it's ingrained right from the beginning. You have an example with First Nations people. There's a teaching called the 7 generations, and I'll explain that. I'll ask students, how many of you have a 3-generational picture that you can show me? Very easy to. 4 generations, very easy. How about 5? Think of yourself now. Can you have a 5-generation picture where all of you are together? Do you have one? Raise your hand if you have one. It's awfully hard, but it's possible. I've seen a 6-generation picture, and I had to research that. There was one example in the States that I found that it was in a newspaper, but guess what? There is no 7-generation picture. It's impossible. So that mindset again on how we have to think of that 7th generation, that the generations to come. So those are kind of the big picture difference of how we view the world. And from there, okay, so that's our kind of mindset first. So we take it from there. So we have, in Frontier, we have a portable planetarium that we take out to different schools. And what do we do with it? Of course, we have a provincial curriculum that we follow and outcomes, but there's a lot more opportunity to take place. Traditionally, a lot of the learning was done by storytelling. And where does that come from, or how did that happen? So I'll do some star teachings, and behind a teaching there is sort of this surface view. It depends with younger students. They'll have a different meaning from that story, but it's multi-layered, and depending on age, that the older you get, the more different you see things. And I kind of give this humorous view on growing up watching cartoons on TV. I'll watch something like the Flintstones, and as a kid, I'd laugh about it. But later on in life, somehow that cartoon will come on TV again, and I watch it as an adult, and I laugh because there's different kind of humor that I'm picking up on. Well, same with the stories, these teachings, that it depends on the age, that there's different meanings and so on. So those are just kind of different examples of what can happen when we talk about Aboriginal perspectives and what you take from it. That's just a very beginning there. So hopefully that helps.
If I can just interject here, Rockford, you just reminded me of this past week at the college, and this is in answer partly to your question too, and we're talking science and technology. Some of us faculty at the college last week had the opportunity to go to the Human Rights Museum and take in the Mikanakea Spirit Tour. Absolutely fantastic. If you haven't, first of all, been to the Human Rights Museum, go there. If you haven't taken this tour, arrange for it. It's a private tour. But this is something that we need to bring into our classrooms. And we have Skype, we have Google Hangouts, we have all kinds of technologies. As part of your global voice in your network, the Smithsonian has experts that are dying to talk to your students. So these are opportunities we can bring right to our students. Megan mentioned Google Expeditions, virtual tours. These are all things that we can make part of our daily and weekly lessons, that it's not as Sean, principal of Duke Marlborough. Anyway, it's not a one day or a one evening kind of thing. It's not an add-on. Often in technology, we say, oh, well, we can't do anymore. We're already doing too much. So, our curriculum is all full. It's how we do it. It's not doing another thing. It's making teaching part of our curriculum and bringing it in on a daily basis. So take advantage. The people are there to talk to you. If you don't have the expertise, there's someone that'll help you. Yeah, so thanks.
Thank you. Anne, I'm going to turn the attention to you. Of course, I called on you when you were out of the room because teachers always know. I'd like to hear your perspective on ESD and projects that you're excited about, or how there's potential for collaboration.
I think what I've heard today is remarkable, and I'm thrilled at the extent that you can connect with others everywhere. And I guess my one hope is that during the time that you're doing your science, you're always remembering how to change unsustainable behaviors to sustainable ones. And you're thinking about, if this is a situation when you're doing your water studies, what do we need to do about it? What can we do? And then make sure that happens. There are so many organizations too that I'm thinking of that provide funding and information when you're doing water studies, that there's another need to connect all these people together. But truly in sustainable development, the goal is to live our lives today so that we don't impact future generations negatively. The whole idea of the 7th generation. And it is the hardest thing to do, and it's the least expensive. So what kind of change can you make in your school, in your home, in your own personal life that can take that one good sustainable step forward and then maintain that, and then think of something different and something new that you can add on to that, so that we have a sustainable world. And all of the science that's involved, the science from up north, and the new climate change videos that we've just posted on the ESD website, because we were desperate to get the message out that the change is long since begun and it's impacting everyone. But we live our lives in such a bubble, it seems, that we don't connect that together. Always connect everything that you do with the impact on the planet. That whole idea of sustainable communities and living sustainably and the planet. So if you always remember to not just do whatever it is you're doing in isolation, but think about the bigger picture. What could we do to make it better? What could we do in any aspect of your life or your school or your school community to make that change? This connected network can make a huge impact.
I absolutely agree. And when we move forward with our collaborative ideas, I think it's absolutely necessary to embed Indigenous perspective, embed sustainability beliefs and practices into what we're talking about. And to get back to Eva, what you were saying, just to embed the technology that we're using in what we want to achieve anyway, right? So it's not another to do, but it's a part of. So at this point, we are actually down to our last 15 minutes, and we have several educators that we haven't heard from. I'm going to ask for a short blurb about what you're hoping to achieve moving forward from anybody that we haven't heard from yet. And then at the end of that, I will have a homework assignment for all of you as well. So on this panel, yeah.
I guess I've got a bit of a comment and also a question for others. So I'm quite excited about this whole idea of citizen science, and I'll just share with the comment part is just a couple of the exciting kind of opportunities that are opening up. I know my colleague Mark in Winnipeg already mentioned about the water testing that we're doing, and also the iNaturalist app. Those are a couple of examples where in citizen science that the students and citizens go out and collect the data, and then it forms part of a larger network where scientists can analyze the data, and as students we get the sense that we're contributing to science, we're moving forward, so it really connects. And there's also the other kind of side of the science where there's ongoing research projects that are producing more data than the scientists can necessarily wade through, and so they get help with some of that heavy lifting to process the data. So we heard yesterday from Dr. Stefan Peterson, and he's got a couple of excellent things going on with the beluga whale pictures to process. There's the whisker print that we heard about earlier, and there's a lot of other around the world. There's like satellite pictures where you're asked to find the animal in these pictures. It's kind of like a Where's Waldo. So there's some really exciting things about citizen science, and there's also opportunity. There's a website called Zooniverse where if you want to start your own citizen science project and get others involved, I guess it's kind of like that science fair on the internet. So that's the comment part about some of the exciting things I found about citizen science. My question then would be, are some of the other educators or some of the other people out there, are there other interesting ones that I've missed that you're aware of and that you'd like to share?
Thank you. We're going to have that question answered as part of your homework assignment that we can share with all of us, just so that we do have enough time to give everybody a chance to speak who would like to. So going down the line in our panel, if you're good with what you've had a chance to say already, pass it along if you'd like a turn.
With the amount of time that we have left, I just want to make sure that I get this plug out there. Lauren mentioned it earlier, and I mentioned it in the other streams as well. The Soapbox Ed program that we have coming out of Sisler, with most of it's partnered with Frontier School Division, and I'm a big fan of trying to get as many students as possible in a place where you wouldn't typically see that many students. So the one that sticks out is the live surgery that we just did on the funny bone. Well, not we, but we have a partnership with Pan Am Clinic, and a live surgery was performed. Takes a lot of planning, a lot of preparation, and our library is full of students. And with Frontier's help, they can help us stream it to thousands of kids around the world. And that's huge. I'm a big fan of these leadership programs where one or two kids can go into a surgeon's room or go into a microbiology lab. But then again, that's one or two life-changing experiences. I want 5,000 kids or 2,000 kids for Sisler to have that same opportunity. So this is an open invitation to, you're all big names in the Winnipeg office, where there are these very unique opportunities to be in a surgery room, to be in a microbiology lab, to get these guided tours of these places. And the more that we can spread awareness of this program, the more unique programs come back. So with this Marine Observatory that's happening in 2019, I believe, when it's completed, I know for sure I'm going to be bugging everyone on this panel, because Sisler is going to be a part of that, and we are going to stream that around the world. But it's just, you need to have that eagerness. You need to, like you guys said in the Winnipeg office, stick to one thing. I know that we're going to do that. We're going to stick to it, and we're going to stream around the world. So, open invitation. Tell your staff about, what Soapbox Ed is, what Sisler is doing. They can email me. It'll be in a attachment, I'm sure, after this, because we want all of your kids to see what it's like inside of a surgeon's room. You have students in the class that say, I want to be a surgeon when I grow up. Well, do you really? Let's sit down and watch what they do. And then some kids make up their mind very quickly. Yep, that's what I want to do. Or they might be on the floor. But you'd rather have them figure that out in grade 11, 10, 12 than fourth year university, and this isn't something I want to do. And that's huge. But keep your eye out on Soapbox Ed. You'll be hearing from me.
Thank you. Matthew, would you like?
Okay, in just 1 minute, I just wanted to touch base on our Sisler North group. Again, we're really proud of this initiative. It actually started with Jacqueline with Frontier School Division, with Eva and Megan, who are in the Winnipeg office. We all came here in October of 2014 to do this conference, and going back to Winnipeg and getting a program together with the support of our administration has been huge. Our numbers have essentially doubled. We've done 2 trips so far, and we use a lot of technology to connect our kids leading up to the trip, kind of get the hype going, so kids have a bit of an understanding of what they're getting into when they come here. We've done Skype conferences with some of the scientists here and with Parks Canada. We met some scientists via Instagram, just randomly found them on Instagram, and they've come to talk to our kids. So we learned a little bit about whisker printing and that kind of thing before we came out. So technology has been really useful in getting our kids doing a bit of pre-teaching that Matt and I, though we kind of have an understanding of these things, couldn't really prepare the kids the way that the people who actually are living it can do. So, and then being in Churchill with the kids has been awesome. And moving forward, what we would like to do is connect our kids with Churchill students doing either research projects leading up to it, or getting to know each other, and then meeting and having some in-person conversations when we're here. So our program is growing, and if you want to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, we're at Sisler North, and we just came back from Churchill 2 weeks ago, so there's lots of pictures up there if you'd like to look at them.
Okay. Anybody else from our panel here? Okay. Let's leave the floor to Winnipeg. We're really winding down, and there's some eager teachers that I'd like to hear from in Winnipeg as well, who haven't had a chance yet. So what you're most excited about and what you want to see moving forward.
I'm most excited about just finding connections between different people and find our similarities and how to work off that to tackle some realities that we have in our world. Just touching on the social part of the social media, and we're talking about getting together on some face-to-face time, and that's one thing that we have to look at when we talk about technology and we're looking at engaging students. What are they taking out of that themselves? Why are they using that social media? And making sure that we use that aspect when we incorporate that technology into our lessons and our schools.
Fantastic, thank you.
Recently, a group of grade 3-4 students at one of my schools participated in a virtual field trip just because they were interested in sea turtles and sea turtle habitat. And the discussion of plastics in the ocean came up. And this has struck to the heart of every single child in that class. And they are now focused on how they can reduce, how they can reuse, and how they can repurpose plastics. And this, I think there's an opportunity for some type of connection with somebody who's living on the water somewhere close but not incredibly close, so we can share perspectives and share opportunities.
Thank you.
I guess for me, I'm really excited about the opportunity of collaboration. I was talking with my students who were participating in the morning session, and the best part of it for them was talking to people that aren't in their school, aren't in their city, aren't in the country. They were super excited about that, so I'd like to explore that a lot more.
And somebody had mentioned purpose-driven data, and that really struck with me. I'd like to have my students pursuing this interest but contributing to progress by collecting data that is used by outside agencies or universities or science fields that are making change. So if anybody has an opportunity for that, I'm very interested there.
Absolutely. So when students ask us why are we doing this, it's not just because we said so. We have a good reason for it. Anybody else at our Winnipeg location who would like anything to add?
Just a couple of things. Number one, that focus on that one social media tool, pick one, choose one. If you're going with Twitter, on Wednesday nights, we have a group of teachers who put together a Manitoba Ed Chat, which focuses on a number of features throughout the school year. On the web, for a website that has action projects on it, Curiosity and Let's Talk Science, excellent resources for that to get connected with. And just a plug for Maple, if you're not a member of Maple, our Manitoba Professional Learning Network, please join. And there's a way that you can get connected there for a variety of topics and find out more, connect with other teachers, and keep the motion going.
Comments from anybody in Winnipeg?
I was just going to say that since I'm responsible for the whole province, I'd be happy to help anybody in any way to make connections. I also recently was the science coordinator for Nunavut, so I could help people making connections that way. And previously I was actually a head of science in England, so I can make connections there. So without the province, or throughout the province, outside of the province, other places, any way I can help you, I'm at the department. So just drop me an email and I will help you out.
That's fantastic. Every one of us knocking at your door for that offer. And any final comments from our group up here in Churchill? Or is yours? Certainly.
Just one little observation about making those kind of personal connections via technology. I know there was a comment yesterday about sometimes technology appears to make us connected, but we're just still separated. But what we experienced this morning with the classrooms in between New York and Winnipeg and here in Churchill, that had a very real human element to it. Like when the kids from New York said they had no idea what a skidoo was, and all the Churchill kids here just were laughing. I just thought, if we're going to do these collaborative type of activities, it seems to me this kind of teleconferencing streaming is a good way to either start it or end it to make it a real sort of personal, engaged feeling about it.
Absolutely. In my studies, one common element throughout all of distance learning and distance education is that element of relationship. So it's a relationship with your subject matter, a personal relationship and connection, a personal relationship with your peers, and a personal relationship with your educators as well. And that's definitely high on the priority. It's a must-have or this falls flat. Okay, anybody else? Final comment?
Just very quickly, thank you for letting us be a part of this, and me to be a part of this. It feels very special to make these connections with you. And if we consider the theories of science and we consider the evolution of science in the past and history, then what we notice is one distinct feature is that science it develops and it proceeds forward to truth with the use of a community. And developing a community of scientists and young scientists, which is essentially our target model here, online now is an avenue that we can use, is really a quite an amazing feat for this generation and the next generations to come. And I feel like seeing that big picture of developing this online, personal, and elaborate new community of millennial scientists breaking through with all of these avenues and all of these projects and plans is really quite something in the end.
Absolutely. That was a comment or a question that we had to our panel of scientists and educators yesterday. How did you get attached to what you're doing? How did you get that spark in you about what you're studying and doing today? And the common element was that at some point they were given that spark. So we have that opportunity to give that to up and coming students, and it's amazing. It's an amazing responsibility, although daunting at times as well. With that, I just wanted to talk a little bit about maintaining that strong network. Eva, you touched on that as well in one of your comments, and that's exactly what we're doing here today. The network does start with us. This morning, the students were fantastic, and that also started with all of us in bringing our students together. The real goal of this entire week was to take science and technology in the subarctic, look at it through a wider lens, a wider scope, and bring that down so that we develop that personal connection and we can move forward thinking about what projects we want to do. Megan, I'll take a note that you were saying as well. Let's pick one thing and be really good at it, and we can start that today. We've already started it today, and that's the goal. So now for your homework assignment, everyone. You just need to send me a quick email outlining your main areas of interest and what you hope to achieve in partnering with your science classrooms or science groups or projects, anything at all. So we all have a unique voice to this. In that way, we will continue the conversation. Once I have a look at everybody's input to me, I will combine those and see if I can pick out any partnerships to move forward with, and we'll assist every step of the way. And yeah, we'll make this greater and greater. So a big thank you to our panel here from Churchill. It's been a fantastic afternoon. A huge thank you to everybody in Winnipeg. I look forward to connecting with you again. And really, this conversation should have been 6 hours long, so you should all just get on the plane tomorrow morning and meet us here for lunch, and we'll continue then. So again, a big thank you, and I think that's all we've got. We know where we're going from here. Enjoy the rest of your day.